that we are not big on numbers. The new people, the industrialized nation that got here, numbers are a big thing. That's their life, in terms of probably how they live, money and wealth and all the things that they do. Well, for us, it's not so much. We walk a very practical way of life, not wanting to control the environment, but to go with it. So when the people got here, our brothers from across the pond, from Europe, and the first one here to appear would be Laurent, a French explorer, around the year 1743. It's the first time we met the European brother. After that, an entourage of people came. But they were big with numbers. They want to know like how many beaver we had, how many Indians were here. These are just some of the ideas they'll throw. Very interesting numbers. When they came to Buffalo and them looking at them, how they migrate and move around, and them being here, they estimated 60 million buffalo to 80 million buffalo. Now that's a lot of buffalo. And so with that, our world was living with the buffalo, not so much counting them or having to count ourselves or whatever animal may be out there or whatever the many creations are. Like you're looking at the heavens, who's going to bother, trying to count, all the heavenly bodies out there. We just accept we're with them. That's how we live. So with that, now I'll quote someone here, the scientists that come to do work here, and I respect, academics, all what we're doing. That's what our nation is all about, The ones that got here, that did the work, are archaeologists, and they've gone pretty well to the top PhD. I imagine there's geologists got here with all this rock and all the things they have to look at. We have anthropologists, different disciplines. Well, the artifacts that they found right here, and you'll see one on the main floor, and that one is on Mummy Cave Point. That one, the Bitterroot, sometimes they call it, goes back 5,700 years. Wow. That's why it's a World Heritage Center. UNESCO got wind of that, and in 1981, when this came about, they came down right away, World Heritage Site. With the amount of history that's right here, Tate smashed it right here. And here's a little display that they made up of the hill itself, the drive lanes, the reach up here about 700 meters, and the final run down, and the site itself. That's where they found those points. So they said there's a lot of history here. Now, later on, after them just fiddling around, especially in the creek bed down here where the pathway goes across, they found 3 points, not even under the ground. The bitter roots they found while they were digging, but the 3 points they found here were under the water. There was a dam that was made up by the ranchers here to retain the water, dug out for their cattle, horses. Well, UNESCO made this all heritage, historic site, UNESCO site. They said anything man-made, get rid of it. But they're just going to make their own trail for the hiking, and you got to stay on the trail. But when they were going through here, they broke the dam. Water gushed down right in the sediments. They found 3 points. 2 of them they identified as Scott's Bluff points. Now, the movie I'm going to show you will allude to that 12,000 years. So now we're going further back. We lived well with the buffalo. That was my life. If it wasn't for the buffalo, I won't be here. Okay, and we didn't have in the old days no horses, no cows, no dogs, no cats, no pigs, no chickens. We didn't have all that. We had elk, moose, deer, antelope, bighorn sheep in the mountains, and mountain goats. So with the animal here, it's part of our nature, part of the world itself. With its sharp hooves, just sort of tidbit of information to share. Did aerate the ground? Moisture is retained. They bring all kind of animals with them, birds, and the ecology was absolutely wonderful. Things happen. You don't destroy the land. So with that, it was great living with the buffalo. Now we meet our brothers from across the pond, and they come with a very different point of life, different way of life, which we're all living today. One based on economics, our capitalistic world. And what do? We're going to start fixing the environment to fit our needs. And we're going to start taking whatever's there and making product, make all kind of stuff, all kind of goods. That's the way wealth became. We find there's gold, it means nothing to us. Doesn't mean anything to us. Money henceforth, there's no need for money. We never had money. But you know what? You mean everything to me. Okay? So in the old days, I didn't have a white man, a black man. I didn't have a purple or pink man. We are human beings. And certainly where it is to show that all the time, remind myself and people to show them we are one. We're human beings. And when I speak my language, Kistun non, akanyop, kshakum stuta, ash to ash, dust to dust. We are one. So if we break down and we call the human being Nichitapi, and this is rightfully the transcription broken down. 62% of all of us, minimum is water. Okay, that's what we are. In your lungs, in your cells, you got air. This air, that's what we are. And if we die out here, nobody finds us, we'll go back to the earth. That's what we are, earth. Last of all, to see you and to breathe automatically, energy. That's what Nichitapi is. That's who we are. And that's how we live with the earth. So I cannot own it. I take care of it because we are nothing but a breath of time. Just breath. That's all we are, gone. So with us, I know that I came, I'm born, mom delivered me. I got nothing. And when we take that last breath and go and die, we take nothing. I came with nothing, I'm going with nothing. So my thing is, if I get something from here, I want to share it with you. That's our way. And spiritually, that's the way. That's what, when the new people came, we don't know nothing about the Bible, the Old Testament. And they start teaching us. And they had everything pegged down. 365 and a quarter days, I think, to a year. It was interesting. And this quarter day, you add it up to make one day and throw it into a month they call February, and that's a leap year, and we go crazy, chase each other around and get in love. They had all these stories in 12 months. And each month has different number of days. We didn't have that. We got 13 moons exactly. So with that, there is a power, a great power. We don't have to really, get into the whole thing, them telling us, okay, this is God. God made the world in 7 days. That's what we all believe, okay? The creation story. A lot of people today don't like that, especially science. No, we came from, I don't know, a big hot or cold bang theory, Big Bang theory, floated around, and all of a sudden, our suns start to gather. We're not even sure how many planets we got. We're trying to say we know this and we don't know that. Maybe we know nothing. That's the thing. I cannot start saying this is the way it is. And with that, the development of their saying the right temperature and everything, moisture, food, they say a single-celled animal, and then from water we went onto land. Through evolution, they tried to peg me down. We went through this process, and now we're Homo sapiens, Homo erectus. We're walking now. They don't want that spiritual part, and that's That's what we're about. We don't make a mountain out of a molehill as everything's one.
So,
So with the God, we're very spiritual, and that's what God is about. Love. Love is our strength. So whatever I have, I'm going to share with you. And that's our strength here on earth. This individualism, like I am the king or the queen or the president or whoever, the military leader or a genius at 150 IQ, that's not our world. God didn't say that. God never did that. We're all equal. So with that, they came and they started telling us stuff. When it came to the buffalo, they wanted to produce stuff. First of all, they have to deal with us, so we're a threat to them in their world. It's interesting, they built forts right away. We're going to visit them to bring them stuff. They got little shutters, and they open them, they look out, you see us coming, they shut them. They're still doing the same thing. Why? So with that, they looked at us as a threat. We're very spiritual people. Hey, we need this land. We're going to start putting people here. This land was all taken free. That's what happened because they lived like that. That's what we're doing today. So between that meeting of 1743 to about 1940, 1800s, a lot of people got there, especially this railroad track when it went through here about 1880s, got to the West Coast 1899, 1898. They brought people and goods, nation, if we can say, start to develop. Well, between 1743 and about, I'd say, 1850, and especially between 1800 and 1850, they went out killing those buffalo. Because to them, they know it's our mainstay, and if they kill our mainstay, it's going to reflect the impact on us. We become weak, they're going to step right in and do it. There are two colonizers, United States and Canada, they're the same. They did exactly the same thing. The United States, the Indians stood up to them because of the constant double talk and lie. So the people there gave the information right to Canada. Be careful on your side when you go up there. We got a big nation here. And who are we? We're Pagan Indians here, spelled Pigan. And our brothers and sisters, the Blood Indians and the Blackfoot Indians. We're one big unit. We live in the mountains. Edmonton, North Saskatchewan River drains to the Hudson Bay. And down south, we go into Montana, Wyoming. Northwest corner of Wyoming, get the Yellowstone River. That's another natural boundary, whips into Montana. And how far east? Well, we'll go to the next province, Saskatchewan, Regina. We call that Manipukex. Pagans, getting the Bloods and the Black. That's what we handle. And the buffalo was our world. So between 1800 and 1850, they started killing them off because they want to deal with us. They didn't want the fighting, but they came with the same concept. Very archaic system today, they still apply on us today. It's rather sad because the world doesn't know this. They often say, how come the product, the Indians are so socially, economically impacted? Look at them, they're dying. Well, you throw us into a reserve. What do you expect? You keep a dog long enough, it's going to die. The sad thing is we're maintaining that today. So they came with the concept of Indian reservation, a treaty first of all. When they get weak, we'll march in and we'll promise them the world, according to Queen Victoria. I'm sure she had good intentions and all the royalty, but your agents here, Colonel MacLeod, Parkinson, Laird, those people, I think today are in an area where shame is with them because that's all they did. It's interesting how us people are. We put them up on a pedestal and make them heroes, name towns after them and roads. All they did was set that system down, the treaty. And they say it's a written treaty. The lie is there's no written treaty. There's one on the second floor that's made up Treaty 7 for us, the 3 tribes. There's 11 of them overall. From that point on, they established the Indian Act. Rules we have, I don't even know about, which I have to live by today. It sets me apart from Canada. Canada's for Canadians. We're here. That's why we have problems. So with that, that legislature is oppressive, it's racist, it's no good. The British made it up in the 16th century probably, brought to Africa, it's part of apartheid, brought back. It's called the Indian Act for us. And the reservations across the road is a reserve. They're all the same. In that reserve, we own nothing. It's federal crown land, crown land. No matter what we're led to believe as Indians, it is federal crown land. Everything, infrastructure, everything there is theirs. We're being still held down there. They want to make sure of that. So, they went out killing the buffalo. Between 1800 and 1850, it's true, 60 to 80 million buffalo. By the time they were done, less than 100 survived. Devastated. They were left out there to rot. Life changed. They brought in cows, bovines. That's their world. Them kind of animals don't really contribute to the wildness of our place here. Look at it. They don't really help us. We die. Our health is breaking down. Look at us. So they brought it in. Ranching, and this place has always been the breadbasket to another thing, crop production. Dryland farming, wheat, barley, and oats. This area is wonderful. We're the breadbasket. And now, from the rivers, you have the dams, and you have the weirs, and now you have the irrigation. You drove across here. It beats Lethbridge, northern Vegas in the world. Now you got horticulture, peas, beans, sugar beets, name it, everything. Money. And the land was taken free, and they support that with the settlers. Well, greed was always with people. So they'd run, take down an area maybe 1 mile square, still in the family. Some people want the river valley and forestry, so they run the river valley down 6 miles square, and those ranches are still out there. They're rich. That's what they want to do, clear it, so they can start up. With the less than 100 that were left, they left the calves alone. Because your bullets got pretty expensive. You want to kill the troublemaker, mom and dad. Those are the ones that copulate to produce. So kill them so they can't. But the calves, don't waste any money on them, guys. The wild animals will eat them up, rip them up, and that's what happened. So the Indians took them. It was a sad time. Crying, you take these poor calves, take them home. That's what saved the day today. That's why we have. And then, of course, after they start increasing, we gave them back to what we call government. The United States, get them out of here. This is the nuisance. Thought they were all gone. Canada was thinking a little more to turn to century 1900. 1920s, they bought them. They brought them to Wainwright, and right away people up, no, get those animals out of here. So they said, what can we do? Oh, bring them to hinterland. So they brought them to Northwest Territories, northern Alberta, wood buffalo, shipped them up there. About maybe 6,000, 7,000. And they adapted very well. They really adapt well. And that's your wood buffalo. Then the United States took some, hey, those are animals too. Yellowstone. And now they find out any wild animal, your cholesterol level is really low, especially the range pet. That's natural, good for health. No more blocked arteries for strokes and heart attacks. Now ranchers saying, hey, there's a big market for that, buffalo meat, low cholesterol. Now they're ranching them. So they've been on a slight rebound. Today, well controlled in North America, probably 400,000, 500,000, well controlled, less than 500,000 buffalo. That's what we have. And that is the story here. We're excellent conservationists, the people here. It's not so much setting down as a goal. We don't have that, an objective. We go with it. So when we kill the buffalo, we're gonna have several hundred, maybe 100, 300. once a year in the fall time, hey, hardly any dent on the 80 million buckwheat sugar, 60 million. And the animals, they're very, I mean, they're super wonderful. You know, they gave us everything. Food, clothing, shelter, tools, name it, everything, our livelihood. They give their lives for us. Very special, very honorable. So when you sit down, when you're going to eat, you pray. You died for me, Buffalo. Died for me. So that's what we have right here. And with all those, if it's true, those thousands of years, never a problem with population. Never a problem. They held steady. You know, like us human beings, if we go out into nature and let nature be nature, people would say, well, you know, what about diseases and all that? You know, I tell you, young men, you're very, very, it's excellent what you're doing, you know, going forth, getting educated and so forth. But also remember, when you come down to a point where you question something, you believe in yourself. There's a thing called common sense. That'll answer anything and everything. And in a point where you're not sure, go for it. There's also first time. So when people tell me, well, didn't you worry about diseases? When you let nature go, what happens is if they are sick, and let's say they're going to die, they know it. Like a lot of us, when we're going to die, we know it. Okay. So what will happen is maybe the wolves are chasing them. So they run across the stream. The ones that are not up to spit, maybe the sick ones or old ones, they're going to turn around and face them. And the strong will continue.
Yeah.
They go down. So with all the animals, they have enzymes, they have, you know, if they are sick, never a problem. That's what happens. So for us, we never had these strange diseases. It's only when we start playing the maker and start taking DNA from different things, putting it together and trying to produce something else, that'll turn around and come right back at us. Look at us where we're at. We are this close to the end because of what we're doing. So today, my friends, I hope I was able to shed a little light or share a little. I'm right here. I'll help you out passionately. I'm from the practical side, okay? I'm an Indian and a real Indian. Siksika, manan stay siksika. Skapi pikani, it's not pasipikani. It's sakita peace, but no. So passionately, I share whatever I have, and I'll do it for you, because I know you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
very much.
That was really helpful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This one will